Welcome to another edition of Pastor Kumuyi's Illustrations.
If you really want sanctification, there is a thirst, there is a hunger. You really want this sanctification. And I'm not telling you that exactly what happened to me will happen to you, but I'm just telling you what really happened in my life. You know, after I got sanctified, I'll just be going on the road like this, and it may be a chorus on holiness, a chorus on the mind of Christ. I've never had a chorus before. As I would just be meditating as I was going. And all the things I used to see when I was just saved but not sanctified, the things I used to see on the campus that will be disturbing me, and I'll be struggling with them and saying, God, I don't want to think like that. God, I don't want my heart to be like that. After I got sanctified, I still saw those things. They didn't make any meaning at all unto me. And the things that was number one in my life, because if you went to the secondary school I went to, when you talk about education, we were disciplined and we were brainwashed that education was the number one thing. And that if you didn't have anything in this life, you must have education. And those who went to the school at such in the 50s, they will know that that's the way we were taught. And we really wanted to be educated at all costs. And when I got to that university, my mind was that, with that same mind of, brainwashing, I will make this, I will make this, I will make this. When I became sanctified, I'm not telling you to copy me. I'm just telling you what happened. Education became number 2. Heaven became number 1. And I was even surprised. Because then, I doubled my reading of the Bible. I doubled my reading of Christian literature. I doubled my practices on music. As if I was preparing to be a pastor. And yet, by the grace of God, if they asked any question in class, even when it appeared that while they are doing that thing and they are writing on the board and I'm writing, my mind is, saying, oh God, remember, I'm going to preach the gospel. Oh God, remember this one I'm doing. I'm just doing it now at my age. Please don't forget me. If I can only win souls to the Lord. While they are doing that, immediately they ask a particular question. And all the other students, they raise up their hands and they are not able to make it. When I raise up my hand, it will be exactly the same thing. In fact, I was lecturing students in my own class. Whenever the teacher didn't come, they will come to me and say, so and so, what is this? And I would explain to them. And they even felt that they understood it when I taught them more than when the professor taught them. And yet, this thing was inside my heart. Do you know that when we're going to take the final exam, my classmates, they knew me, and quite some of them now will still meet once in a while. On Sunday, nobody taught me not to read, and I'm not laying any rule upon you, please. But I'm just telling you, this is not something that somebody said, you must do this, you must do this. I just found out on Sunday, I was reading Bible. We're going to take final exam. And as we are going to take final exam, we are going to start on Monday. I just find my heart was in heaven. I was asking myself, how are you going to pass exam? When every time is heaven, every time is Bible, every time I just said, oh God, just direct me. We got there on Monday morning, and they put all the questions there. And I wasn't a lazy student. When you talk of time management and everything, I did what I ought to do. And when I saw the question paper, I said, so this is what they call final exam of degree. So I, put everything down. Before the 3 hours, I'd finished and put my pen down. The invigilator will not want to take paper. He thought that I maybe too religious. I didn't do what I should have done. He said, look over that thing. I said, I've looked over it. And eventually, he was so excited himself. The second day we went for the second paper, he said he never marked any paper like that before. It was more than 90%. And the next paper, the same thing. The next paper, the same thing. The next paper, the same thing. And that's why they gave me first class. And they were running after me to give me scholarship. They said, this is scholarship. I said, I'm sorry, I don't need it. I want to be a preacher. And he said, what kind of a fanatic is this one? Well, it's a fanaticism that has raised up this deeper life now. when you give your heart to the Lord, I'm not telling you not to be serious with your education. If anybody was serious with reading, I was serious. If I was studying my mathematics, keeping to my timetable, if you came around and you wanted my attention, you couldn't get my attention, because I was that disciplined. It's like if I'm reading my Bible, you couldn't get my attention. If I was studying my mathematics at that time, you couldn't get my attention. And so it is important when you thirst, when you hunger. The point I'm making is that you will have such an experience that all that you are saying, and will I stay, will I backslide? Although I know backsliding is in the Bible, and I will teach it. At that time, what do you call backsliding? The things that people see in the world, the things that pull their mind, the things that want to make them to backslide, they were not even a problem to me. And I was as young as you are now. At that time, I believe the Lord can do the same thing. If you will have this desire and this passion, longing after it, saying, oh God, you will do this for me, the Lord will do it in Jesus' name.
I hope you have been blessed by this edition of Pastor Kumuyi's illustrations. Please don't let this illustration die. Pass it on to others, and you could be of help to someone somewhere. Till we meet next week again for another edition of Pastor Kumuyi's illustrations. Remain blessed.